Suspense. Tonight, transcribed, Autolite brings you Miss Joan Crawford in The 10 Years, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader. And now, Autolite presents Joan Crawford in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Everyone is so good to me. I like being here, but some of the others don't, I guess. Do you hear? They scream sometimes like that in the night. Maybe they scream because they remember things. But I remember things, too. Especially when people come out from town to see me, to bring me things. But there's nothing that I want. They can't bring back my sister. My beautiful sister Adele. They came today, and with them they brought back memories of Adele when we were children. The night that Mother died. The night we made the promise.
Don't cry anymore, Adele. I'm afraid, Clara. We're alone.
We're not alone.
But if something happened to you...
Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm going to take care of you.
But that's what Mother said. And now she's left us, too.
But, Adele, Mother didn't know that she wouldn't have left us if she could have helped us.
Promise me you won't die, Clara. And that whatever I do, you'll do. And that you'll never leave me.
I promise.
And we'll be together always and forever.
Always and forever. I promise.
For years, I kept that promise. Adele and I were as close as anyone could be. We had few friends, but I didn't mind as long as she was happy. But sometimes I was frightened at the way she clung to me after we were grown. I was afraid of what would happen to her in case anything ever happened to me. And then something did happen. I met Douglas Foley. Adele liked him until she realized that I'd fallen in love with him. Then she hated him in a childish, vicious way. He tried to win her over, but it was no good. And then he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. That night, after he'd gone, Adele was waiting for me in my room. Adele?
Clara! Douglas told me.
Adele, you're so white. You're ill.
But you promised me.
But, Adele, I'm not leaving you. You're going to live with us.
No, it won't be the same. You promised always and forever.
But we were children, Adele.
You promised we'd be together always and forever.
But, Adele, you see,
Clara, if you marry him, I'll never speak to you again.
But we were married, and we believed that Adele would forgive us in time. But she didn't. She refused to see us, and letters went unanswered. Then when we learned that my husband's new job was to take us to Europe, our first thought was of Adele. If she would only go with us. But when we drove to her house, she refused even to come to the door, and we were forced to sail without her. My son, Doug, was born in Europe. And I wrote Adele a long letter telling her about him. But the letter was returned unopened. When Doug was just 10, we returned to America. I went directly from the station to Adele's house. She was working in the garden when we drove up. I was shocked at her appearance. Her hair had turned almost white, and there was a strange look about her. I sent Doug to the gate to introduce himself. She looked at him in a puzzled manner, Then she saw us sitting in the car, and she turned and walked into the house. The next thing I remember was that day 1 month after my return home when I was put on trial for murder. For my husband's murder.
Mrs. Foley, will you tell us again what happened the night of your husband's murder?
My husband was working in the garden all day. When it began to grow dark, I called him in. But he insisted that he had something to finish. I called him several times after that, and then I became irritated and I gave up. I had my dinner alone and I went up to my bedroom.
Then you do admit that you quarreled with him the night of the murder?
We didn't quarrel. I was irritated, but I said nothing to my husband.
I see. Your husband's death was caused by a deep, narrow wound in the vicinity of the heart. It is the opinion of this court that the instrument used might have been an ice pick. Mrs. Foley, have you any other ideas as to what might have inflicted this wound?
No.
Had your husband any enemies, Mrs. Foley?
No. And so I was acquitted that day because of insufficient evidence. I thought Adele would come to see me during those awful days, but she didn't. I saw her in the courtroom, but she never looked my way. I believe it was about 2 months after the trial that my son and his friend Roy went on an all-day hiking trip to the beach. They were late getting back. It was almost dark when I saw Roy coming up the street. He was alone, and he was running.
Mrs. Foley! Mrs. Foley!
Roy, where's Doug?
She's down at the beach. With her.
With whom?
Your sister.
My sister? Oh, for heaven's sake, Roy, will you tell me what this is all about?
Well, you see, Mrs. Foley, Doug and I went down to the beach.
It seemed that Roy and Doug had forgotten to take along their drinking water, and they hadn't missed it until they'd come to a very deserted strip of the beach.
Maybe we can get some water at that little house over there. Funny place for a house, isn't it? Yeah. Come on. Looks like nobody lives here. All the better. And just drink out that faucet in the yard. You won't have to ask nobody. Come on. Sure run down, ain't it? Maybe the faucet isn't working. The garden's all dead. Sure it's working, see? Someone's just plain lazy then. Or maybe no one lives here. Well, sure they do. There's a mailbox. Hey, maybe there's a name on it. Look. Miss Adele Norris. That's Mom's sister. Yeah? Well, let's drop in and see her. She wouldn't even know who I was. You could tell her, couldn't you? Say, maybe she'd give us some cake or something. No. She's mad at me and Mom. Come on, let's get out of here. Hey, Doc. Look at all those dead leaves on the porch. Let's have a look around. No, she might come out. Oh, she can't hurt you, can she? Let's peek in the window. No, Roy. Look, Doug. The place is all upset. It's all dirty and everything. Let's look in the rest of the windows. There's no one around. Here's the kitchen. Hey, look at all the dirty dishes piled up. Say, maybe my Aunt's sick. Look. Someone's coming to the window. Oh.
What do you want?
We wanted to see if you were all right.
Go away.
Don't you recognize me?
No.
Are you sick?
No.
I'm your nephew, Douglas Foley.
Go away, whoever you are.
I'd like to help you.
Go away, I said.
Mother wouldn't want me to leave you here like this.
Who is your mother?
I told you. Don't you remember? She's your sister.
I have no sister. My sister died when I was 18.
Roy, go home and get my mother. My Aunt's sick. I'll climb through this window, and I'll see if there's anything I can do.
You stay out of this house.
Doug, let's both go. She doesn't want you here. She's sick. You go for my mother, and hurry.
If you come into this house, you'll be sorry. If you dare. Did you say your name is Douglas Foley?
Yes, that's right.
Douglas Foley is dead. Forever and ever.
No, don't you see? The one who died was my...
Douglas Foley became between two sisters. And then he died.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you. My mother and
But
you...
if he isn't dead, then I guess he'll have to die again. That's it. Yes. He'll have to die again. He'll have to die again. He'll have...
Look, you're sick. You need help.
I'm sick.
Yes. Don't you want me to come in?
Yes. Come in. Douglas Foley.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Joan Crawford in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. And now, Autolite brings back to a Hollywood soundstage Miss Joan Crawford as Clara in The 10 Years by Mel Dinelli. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
You see how clearly I remember things? I remember so well the horror of that moment when Doug's little friend finished telling me how he had left Doug there alone with my sister Adele. And I even remember what Roy said at the end.
So I came back to tell you, Mrs. Foley, on account of Doug made me. Now I wish I hadn't left him there with her. I know she's your sister and all, but I saw her face when she came to the window. She looked awful, Mrs. Foley. She looked awful crazy.
I followed Roy's directions, and I went by foot north along the ocean. I must have walked a good mile before I came to the house. The front door was standing open. There was a lamp burning on the table. Adele. She lay on the bed. I couldn't see her very clearly by the candlelight, but I could see that she was fully dressed. Her hair was undone, and it spilled down over the pillow. For a moment, I thought she was dead.
What do you want?
Adele.
What do you want?
It's me, Clara. Where's Douglas?
He's dead.
Adele!
Your husband is dead.
I don't mean my husband. I mean my son. Where is he?
He was murdered with a long shot.
Be still. You don't know what you're saying. Where is my son?
I haven't seen him.
You have. He was here. I know that.
I haven't seen
Yes,
him.
you have. Try and remember. Where is he?
I don't know.
Yes, you do know. What have you done to him?
Was he your son?
Yes, Adele. Please.
I hated him.
I know. Where is he, Adele?
He went away.
Where? Where did he go?
He went to the village for a doctor.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes.
How long ago did he leave?
I don't remember.
Will you stop questioning me? Can't you see that I'm sick? I tell you he went for a doctor. Why do you come here, Clara? After 10 years.
I've come to help you.
I don't need your help.
Adele, did Doug really go for the doctor?
You think I'm lying?
I don't know. But if he isn't back soon, I'm going for the police.
The police. Those fat fools. I'm so sick, Clara.
Oh, I know. I'm going to take your things off, Adele. You'll be more comfortable. Then when the doctor comes, if he comes...
Don't you touch me.
You're sick, Adele. Let me take your things off.
No. Can't you leave me alone? Leave me alone. How do you know what's good for me after all these years? I'm in pain, Clara. I have a heavy
pain here by my heart. When I'm tightly laced, I can almost bear it.
All right, darling. We'll leave it till the doctor comes.
Will the doctor help me, Clara?
Of course he will.
Douglas Foley came between two sisters.
Oh, Adele.
He worked in the garden, bending down low. I'm so tired, Clara.
I know. Try and rest, Adele. Close your eyes.
He was working in the garden, and I was on my way home. I saw him there, Clara. He looked the same after 10 years, because he had your strength to draw from. But I was alone. I had grown old, and he had stayed young.
And then she seemed to doze off. Her breathing was so labored. And I thought, perhaps she'll rest more easily if I undress her. And I went over to the bed. She was wearing a corset. I reached over and I began to unhook it. She started mumbling something in her sleep.
You broke your promise. Always and forever, you had said.
But she didn't wake up.
Always.
I finally managed to take her corset off. But as I went to place it on a chair, I noticed something sticking out of the material. At first I thought it was a broken stay, but it was round, and one end was sharp. I looked closer. It was a steel knitting needle. A long steel one. And there was rust on it. Or was that brown stain rust? Adele had concealed a knitting needle, and there was proof of what I guess I'd always known, that Adele had murdered my husband. I dropped the needle to the floor. Then something caught my eye. There was a hand sticking out from beneath the bed. It was white and still. It was a child's hand. I fell to my knees. Oh, Doug! And just as I reached out for him, I felt a sharp blow on the back of my head. And I fell unconscious. I dreamed that Adele and I were children again, that she was laughing, and we were playing an old game of ours where we tied each other up with our bathrobe cords. And then we waited for a knight in armor to rescue us. And then I think it was the odor of kerosene that brought me to. The room was filled with it. Oh, my head was pounding. I couldn't seem to focus my eyes. I tried to raise myself to my feet, but I couldn't seem to move my arms, my legs. Suddenly, I realized why. I was tied with a bathrobe cord. I was a child again. Adele and I were playing our games again. My husband and everything that had happened between Adele and me had been nothing but a bad dream. Oh, a feeling of relief swept over me. Suddenly, I heard footsteps, and the door creaked slowly open. And then I knew that what had happened had not been a dream, for Adele stood there in the doorway. Not Adele, the child who would rescue me, but Adele with gray hair, who hadn't spoken to me for all those years. She wore a long dressing gown. She was barefoot, her long hair streaming about her shoulders. And there was a vacant, stupid smile on her face. She carried a bucket in her hand, and the odor of kerosene filled the room. She didn't seem to notice me as she went past me. She threw the liquid from the bucket onto the bed. Oh, Adele! No, Adele! But she paid no attention to me as she left the room again. I struggled wildly, but it was no use. Oh, I was tied securely, and then I saw a still figure on the bed. It was Doug. Oh, his face was so white. He was unconscious, and there was a deep gash at the side of his head. Then Adele came back into the room. She had filled a bucket to the brim, and she walked toward the bed again.
Clara?
Adele, untie me.
Untie you? Why?
Adele, listen to me.
This is your son, Clara.
Yes, Adele, untie me.
We were looking for him, and he was here all the time.
Please, untie me, Adele.
I never knew your son. For years, I never knew him. How old is he, Clara?
He's only 10. He's just a boy. Adele, you're sick. Untie me and we'll go for a doctor.
You want me to be well, Clara?
Yes, untie me.
Are we friends again, Clara?
Yes, we're friends. I want to help you.
But I can't forget the 10 years, Clara. I must wash those years away before we can really be friends again.
Adele, forget those years. Let me help you. Untie me.
No. We can't forget them, Clara. We must wash them away. That's what I was doing. I was washing away the years. Your husband's gone. Your son is all that remains of him. Then we can be sisters again.
You don't know what you're doing. Untie me, Adele.
But this isn't water that I have in this.
No, you see, you're sick.
What I put into the lamps to make them burn.
No!
I could burn away the years.
Oh!
That would be better.
Oh,
Much
no!
better.
No, Adele, for the love of heaven, untie me!
Burn away these years that remain on the bed.
No, Adele!
I could do that with this candle. Then you and I could really be friends again. Like when Mother was alive. We could be sisters again. Always and forever.
We're sisters now, Adele.
You're lying. We're not sisters.
Adele, listen to me. We're children. And you've tied me with this cord. And now you must untie me. Like you used to do when you left me too long and I cried.
You're lying. We're not sisters and we haven't been for years. And now I'm going to punish you for lying. Just as Mother used to punish us when we were children.
Then she started walking unsteadily toward me. A lighted candle in one hand, the bucket in the other. The liquid slopping over her dressing gown as she walked.
Clara! Do you remember the time Mother washed out my mouth with soap when she caught me in a fib? That's what I'm going to do to you now. Or perhaps it would be better if I burned you. No! Screaming, Clara. Awaken your precious son. We mustn't wake him.
Adele, untie me. I promise you that I'll take Doug and we'll go away. You'll never have to see us again.
No, Clara.
And she kept moving towards me, holding the lighted candle close to her breast.
You mustn't ever lie to me again, Clara.
Adele, you're ill. You don't know what you're doing.
Wash away the years. Burn away the years.
Oh, suddenly, I saw a tiny flicker of flame on her breast. The frilly dressing gown, she'd held the candle too close. Her entire dressing gown was a mass of flames that spread swiftly to her hair. In a moment, she was a blazing torch, and the odor of burning filled the room. I could see her face, surprised and contorted with pain. She turned and looked towards the bed a second, the bucket flaming in her hand. But then she went screaming out the door and towards the sea. Mrs. Foley. Yes?
You mustn't scream like that.
I wasn't screaming. That was my sister, Adele.
Yes, I know. Try not to think about it, Mrs. Foley.
You knew my sister was burned to death, didn't you, Mrs. Willard? Oh, she was so very beautiful.
Yes, I know. Try and rest. Is there anything I can get you before I go to bed?
No, thank you.
Well, go to sleep then.
I will. Good night.
Good night, and pleasant dreams.
Was that my sister, Mrs. Willis?
No, Mrs. Foley. It's one of the others.
Oh. They scream because they remember things.
Yes, I suppose they do. Good night.
Good night. I remember things, too. I remember.
Promise me you'll never leave me, Clara, and that whatever I do, you'll do.
I promise.
Always and forever.
Always and forever. I promise.
Thank you, Joan Crawford, for a magnificent performance. Now here again is Miss Crawford.
I want to thank Tony Leader and his wonderful cast of actors, especially Lorene Tuttle, who played my sister, for helping me to make my appearance on Suspense so very pleasant. Like all of you, I am a great Suspense fan, and I'm looking forward to hearing next week's story. It's another gripping study in
Suspense.
Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite brings you John Lund in Lunch Kit. Suspense.
Why didn't he stop it? Father was getting angry. And Gus, he was so sensitive, especially at a time like this. I'll tell him to stop honking that horn, Dad. Please do, Jonathan. Yes, please do. I'll call down to him. I'll tell him to stop. Hey, Mike!
So there you are, Jonathan.
Cut off that horn. Didn't I tell you this guy was sick?
But we're going to be late for work.
I'll be down in a few minutes. Take it easy.
You better hurry up. I wouldn't want to be late, Jonathan.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to be late, Jonathan.
Who is this Mike? Did he cause any trouble?
Oh, no, Father. He won't cause any trouble.
Well, you've got to be careful, son. He wouldn't understand. There aren't many who would understand. You've got to be careful.
I only did as you said, Dad. I made friends with one of the old-timers down at the plant. I drive him to work every night. He works in the same unit with me. Now I can't get rid of him.
You sure about him, kid?
Sure, I'm sure about him.
Well, what does he think you're doing up here?
Well, I told him a friend of mine lives here. Sick friend. It's all right, Dad.
Very well. How's it coming, Gus?
Almost finished.
Gus was a mechanic. An old-timer. My father had real respect for his ability. Gus had chipped out the inside of the thermos bottle. Now he was working on the detonator. Looked like the old-fashioned pocket watch my dad wore. Now Gus started winding it. Somehow, that kind of got me. I wish my father had never started this thing. I wish he didn't believe the way he did about atomic fission destroying the world. I wish he was like everybody else, that I wasn't his son.
Hey, Jonathan, what time you got?
Huh? What time do you have? What's the matter with you? Are you getting too nervous for me, son?
Nervous? Oh, don't worry about me being nervous. It's, 8:29.
8:29. Okay, kid. What are you sweating about?
Who, me?
Your dad ain't sweating.
This is no time to be nervous, Jonathan.
She'll go off at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Is that okay?
Fine, Gus, fine.
Okay, kid?
Sure. Okay. Now Gus cleared a little space on the table and went to a steel cupboard. He came back with a metal jug cradled in his arm. My father leaned forward. I felt myself tightening up inside. Without thinking about it, I pulled a pack of cigarettes out of my jacket, put one in my mouth. Then as I was about to strike the match, Gus looked up. My father started coming toward me, the veins throbbing in his neck.
Put that match away, you fool. What's wrong with you? Haven't you any sense at all?
What do you mean?
You tell him, Gus.
Kid, if one spark gets into this nitro, they won't find enough of us here to fill that matchbox.
Oh, the unlit cigarette turned to garbage in my mouth. I spit it out and stamped it to pieces on the cement floor. My father and Gus looked at each other. Gus grinned. My father's face, stone hard, didn't change. He looked at me like I was still a little boy. Okay. They'd find out. When the nighttime came at the plant, it'd be up to me.
Your lunch, kid.
Here it is. I just bought it this afternoon.
Oh, look how pretty it is. It's a shame to spoil it.
All right, finish with it, Gus. This is not a time for jokes.
Funny about Gus and his jokes. He didn't believe in this thing at all. He'd sell out to anybody. Money. Just give him money. But you had to admire what he could do. He opened the lunch kit and took the bottle out. He screwed the detonator into the cap, and when it fitted right, he laid it aside. Then he put a siphon into the thermos bottle and opened the jug of nitroglycerin. He poured out a thick, yellowish liquid, and when the thermos bottle was full, he put the top on the jug and carried it back to the cupboard.
You better be far away when this goes off, kid.
I'll be far away, all right.
Jonathan is a bright boy, Gus. I've taught him well.
Gus didn't say anything after that. He bent down over his table, and his eyes tightened up till you could barely see him. He worked quick. You could see he knew what he was doing. And watching him, I began to feel better. Then he was finished. He put the thermos bottle of nitro back inside the lunch kit, and the sandwich, and the orange. Then he closed the lunch kit and handed it to me.
Here you are, kid. Don't drop it.
I won't.
Now, son?
Yes, Dad?
Look at me. Dad, look back at me.
Yes?
It will all work out all right, won't it, son?
Yes, Dad. It'll be all right.
You will make no mistakes.
I'll be careful.
And you'll be here tomorrow morning?
I'll be here.
Good. And then perhaps we'll go away together, you and I.
That'll be fine.
Oh, there's your friend again.
All right, Jonathan, get on with it before the old fool gets us all into trouble.
That you, Jonathan?
Yes.
It's about time. What kept you?
We got to talking. He's pretty sick.
We're going to be late for work.
Well, you should have taken a bus.
What about you?
I'd have been late. So what?
So what? That ain't no attitude.
All right. Here. Open up the dashboard compartment. want to put this lunch kit in.
Okay.
Be careful.
Oh, it's a nice new one.
The drive to the plant was something I'd never forget. What if I ran into something? The tire blew. A speck of dust got into my eye, and I ran off the road. I stayed off the main highway. Too much traffic.
This ain't the right road, Jonathan.
I drove under 25 miles an hour all the way.
Can't you go any faster? We're going to be late, Jonathan.
And all the time the old man kept talking.
You young fellas of today, you're a strange, disturbing lot.
Talk.
You've a fever in your blood. You're restless, and you don't know why. You're a strange lot.
Yeah, strange lot.
You've a fever in your blood.
Keep quiet. What's that?
What?
The noise. That rattling.
Well, I don't know, Jonathan. Sounds like your lunch kit. Come here. What are you worrying about that for? We're going to be late.
Stop telling me we're going to be late. Stop that jabbering.
Yes, Jonathan.
You think the lunch kit will be all right now?
You packed it in pretty well.
Okay. If you hear it rattling again, let me know right away. You hear, Mike? We came to the plant. The night shift guys were already at work. The parking lot was jammed with their cars. We were late, but I was glad of that. Now I'd be able to park near the entrance. Later on, I'd be able to get out in a hurry. Okay, Mike, this is it. I'm sorry I made you late.
Oh, that's all right, Jonathan. Mind if I go back with you in the morning?
Okay. Just be here prompt. I won't wait for you. I took the lunch kit and started for the main gate. The guard was standing there, inspecting everybody with a flashlight. I grinned at him and snapped the lunch kit open. How are you tonight?
Okay. Not eating much, are you?
No, not much.
Ought to. Put some weight on you. Pass.
I changed my clothes quickly and left the lunch kit in my locker. I figured I must look pretty haggard, so before going into the plant, I went to the washroom and washed my wrists. Then I saw I'd left my wristwatch in my street clothes. It was against the rules to go back into the locker room until the shift was over. Now, all night long, I wouldn't know what time it was. I'd have to ask, have to guess. Oh, Father wouldn't like that at all. Being so careless. I began noticing kind of an ache in the pit of my stomach. Oh, wasn't it sick tonight? I drank a lot of water, and the pain left me. Then I went back into my unit. Oh, this was going to be a bad night. I was all raw nerves. It was like being in the middle of a nightmare. A nightmare that wouldn't end. My hands were all thumbs. I couldn't seem to make them do anything right. Oh, Father wouldn't like the way I was doing things. I couldn't stand it much longer.
Hey, Jonathan!
Huh?
What are you doing? Cut your switch.
What's wrong, Mr. Davis?
What's wrong? Is that the way you handle that modifier? Where's your apron?
Oh, yeah. Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Davis.
Don't be sorry. Do it right. Get on the ball, Jonathan. Get on the ball.
Yes, sir. On the ball. What time was it getting to be? I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't think. All I could remember was what was in my locker. All I could remember was that thermos bottle filled to the top with nitro. All I could remember was a detonator set for 6:30. Hey, Mike, what time is it?
12:30.
Hey, Mike, what time is it?
10 minutes after 1.
Hey, Mike, what time is it?
5 minutes to 2.
Hey, Mike, what time is it?
Almost time for lunch.
Lunch?
And am I hungry? I could eat 'em. Hey, what's wrong with you? Well, you're white. Is it...
My stomach.
Hey, you guys, come over here, quick!
you feel now, son?
Better. What time is it? Where am I?
In the plant dispensary. You ever had a spell like that before?
No, I never did, Doc. What time is it?
Hey, you're pretty nervous, aren't you?
No, I'm all right.
I don't know. Your pulse was extremely high when they brought you in here.
But I'm all right now, Doc. I want to go back to my job.
You want to what? I can't allow you to go back to your job, son. Now, just relax.
But I'm all right now. What time is it?
Take it easy now. Take it easy. It's 2:30.
2:30? But then they all gone back to work. I won't be able to go to my locker.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. Your lunch. Isn't that what's on your mind?
But lunch is over. I won't be able to go back.
Now, never mind. I'll send somebody to get your lunch, kid.
Oh, no. No, don't do that.
Huh?
No, really, Doctor. I'm not hungry.
Sure, I know, but you've got to have something. Just sit there.
He went into the next room. I wanted to jump up and start running. Oh, but that was no good either. Why'd I made such a fuss about the lunch kid? What's he doing in there? And he came back. And he was carrying a glass of milk.
Here you are. You're going to miss lunch. At least drink this.
Milk.
Go on. Drink it down.
Okay.
Finish it all. That's it. Feel better?
Yeah. I think I better go back to work.
No, you don't want to do that. Just take it easy.
Oh, I feel fine now. Really.
You couldn't go back to work even if I let you.
What do you mean?
You'll lie down on the cot there in the next room and take it easy. You're going to take a nice long sleep.
Sleep?
Why, sure.
Oh, no. I got to get back to work.
Oh, no. Not tonight anymore.
But I couldn't sleep.
You'll sleep all right. I put a couple of grains of barbitol in that milk you drank.
Sleeping powder?
Hey, what's the matter with you breaking the glass like that?
I don't want to go to sleep. I'm all right.
Oh, you're all right. Can't even hold a glass. Well, you're in fine shape. And at least you drank the milk.
I don't like taking dope.
Now, look, son, it'll slow you down. You'll wake up feeling like a new man. You little fellas, you don't know how to relax. It's a wonder you live as long as you do. Now, come along with me. You just lie there now and behave yourself. That's right. Crawl under the blankets. Now, in a few minutes, you'll be sleeping like a baby. And you won't need the lights. Good night, young fellow. Pleasant dreams.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Mr. John Lund in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Sleeping powder. He put sleeping powder in the milk. And like an idiot, I drank it all down, every bit of it. And then I started to get drowsy. With a time bomb in my lunch kit set to go off in just a few hours, I started getting drowsy. No, I had to get up, to get out. I couldn't stay there, couldn't sleep through. Had to do something. My eyes were getting heavy, so heavy. I couldn't keep them open. A pint of pure nitro and all the chemicals and inflammable stockpiles here. The place would go up like an ammunition dump. Had to get out. I couldn't keep my eyes open. So easy. It's so easy. Let my eyes close. Go to sleep. No, I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't. I crawled off the cot. Window in the room. I have to get through the window. Couldn't go through the doctor's office. Get out through the window. I started over. But then I had to stop. I had to sit down. So tired. So good to sit there. So good to close. What's that? The night time to go home. 6 o'clock. I slept right through, and then the whistle woke me up. It woke me up. Oh, well, lucky. I'm lucky. 6 o'clock. The lunch kit goes off at 6:30. Have to act fast. This time, no mistake. Now I have to do everything right. Getting out of the dispensary was easy. There was a shed right below the window. I dropped to the roof and into the ground. Didn't feel any too good. Still groggy from the barbitol. There was no time to think about that now. When I got back to the locker room, the boys were climbing out of their work clothes, getting ready for the shower room.
Hey, Jonathan, you okay now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel fine.
Hey, you better stop drinking that turpentine, Jonathan.
Boy, you sure had me worried, Jonathan.
Oh, I'm all right now, Mike.
Do I still get the ride?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
See you later, then. Gonna take a shower.
I changed into my street clothes and nothing flat, not caring how I looked. I was kind of worried the doctor would look in on me and find me gone. When I was ready to go, all the other fellows were in the shower room. Oh, that was the break I wanted. I took the lunch kit out of my locker and slid it underneath. Then I looked at my wristwatch. 4 minutes after 6. I had 25 minutes to get away. It was working out fine. Now I knew Father would be pleased. I walked past the front offices. No one else around yet. Couldn't walk too fast, though. Not too fast, not too slow. Act natural. Not too fast, not too slow.
Oh, Jonathan.
Huh? That was Mr. Davis, the foreman.
How you feeling now, Jonathan?
Oh, I'm all right, Mr. Davis.
Anyhow, I want to talk to you. Come into the office.
Now?
Sure, now.
Well, I'm in kind of a hurry, Mr. Davis.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, nobody's in a hurry. Come on, come in.
All right, but just for a minute.
Close the door. Sit down. Nothing like sitting down and relaxing after a long night. This chair could use a little oil.
I really can't stay long, Mr. Davis. I'm supposed to meet someone.
At 6 o'clock in the morning? You still look pale, Jonathan. You sure you feel all right?
Yes. Mr. Davis, if it's about the mistake I made tonight...
Oh, it's not that so much. I'm just a little worried about your health.
There's nothing to worry about, Mr. Davis. It's just that, well, sometimes I get a little nervous.
A little nervous? Look at you, squirming on that chair. You're a bundle of nerves. Something bothering you? I mean, something really bothering you? You can't relax.
Nothing's bothering me.
Well, just to make sure, I'm going to call the dispensary. I've got a hunch you're not telling me everything.
I tell you, I'm all right.
Dispensary, please.
Jonathan, come back here. What's wrong with that guy?
He wasn't chasing me. I looked at my watch. 6:14. Still plenty of time to get away. I left the main building and started across the yard to the gate. It was still dark. I was one of the first out.
Hey, you!
Don't look back. Keep going. Don't let him stop you.
Hey, slow down. Bob, I gotta chase you. I'm all out of breath.
What do you want?
You know as well as I what I want. You forgot something.
What did I forget?
You forgot to punch the time clock.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Then it'll be my neck. You're not leaving this plant till you punch out, mister.
All right. I'll go back and punch out.
Where's the fire? You ought to work out that energy at your job, young fella.
Yeah. I went back into the main building. And there was at least 20 other guys waiting in line before the clock. Hey, look. I got to get to town early. How about letting me punch out now, huh?
End of the line, bud.
But it'll only take a second.
End of the line.
We all want to get to town early, bud.
Okay. Still had time.
Hi there, Jonathan.
Hello.
Say, I think Mike's looking for you.
Yeah?
The old guy sort of adopted you, I think.
Yeah.
Sure a good long line tonight, eh?
Yeah.
Well, not so much to do at 6 o'clock in the morning. My missus will be asleep when I get home. How you feeling now?
Huh? Oh, okay. Say, is my watch right? I got 6:21.
Yeah. Yeah, 6:20 I got. You sure figure it out to the minute.
Right to the minute. Here's my card. Okay. Finally got to the parking lot. Whole flock of guys were out by now. It was kind of cold. Took a couple of seconds for the motor to turn over. It was 6:27. I had 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Couldn't waste any time. I was fighting for my life. Finally caught. Started backing out quick. Had it out in a hurry. 3 minutes. Less than that now.
Oh! Hey, look out! Oh, my headlights. What's the matter with you? Come out and see what you did to my headlights.
I'm sorry. I'll pay for them.
Oh, that ain't the idea. Why don't you watch where you're going?
All right, here's my driver's license. I work in Unit 5. I'll see you tonight, and we'll work something out. My name is Jonathan Peters.
Hey, not so fast. Not so fast. I gotta write this down. You got a pencil?
Here's my pen. Well, start writing.
All right. Jonathan Peters. Unit 5,
yes.
Huh? Okay, here's your pen. I'll see you tonight. You ought to watch where you're going this time in the morning.
Back up and let me out, will you, fella? I'm in a hurry.
Oh, you guys, always in a hurry. Always in a hurry. That's how trouble starts. All right. It's clear now.
Thanks. No more than 2 minutes. I gotta hurry. Hurry. Clear now. All clear. Hurry. Hurry.
Hey, Jonathan, wait for me. Wait, Jonathan.
Oh, he got away. Now, why'd he do that? These young fellas don't know what the end will be.
That kid sure is wacky.
In a hurry. Always in a hurry.
Hey, what's the matter with him?
No sense of responsibility. Last night he drives like a turtle. This morning he races out of here like a demon and leaves me standing.
Too bad, Mike. Well, maybe somebody else will give you a ride home, huh?
Oh, I can get a bus, but this'll teach me to do a guy a favor.
What do you mean?
Well, that Jonathan. I didn't want to keep him waiting, so I came out and looked for him, and he's not in the car. So I go back in the plant to look, and I miss him. When I get back, he's driving off.
Yeah? So what's the favor you did him?
He was so darn particular about it. And he goes off and leaves it under his locker. But I found it and put it in his car for him.
What?
His lunch kit. I put it in his car.
Hey, what was that?
Funny. Sounded like thunder.
Thunder? Look at the sky.
Yeah, beautiful. No, it couldn't have been thunder. It's gonna be a real nice day.
Now, Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite brings you Miss Agnes Moorehead in The Track, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader.
Friends, replace old, worn-out, narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of the sensational new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. Your motor will idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas. Yes, sir, these winning benefits are all made possible by a newly developed Autolite 10,000-ohm resistor built right into every Autolite resistor spark plug. This exclusive Autolite resistor makes practical a wider spark gap setting, and that's what does the trick. What's more, Autolite resistor spark plugs with this exclusive Autolite resistor cut down on radio and television interference. So, folks, see your Autolite dealer and have him replace old, worn-out, narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of the new Autolite resistor spark plugs. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
Yes, sir. And also remember the Autolite Suspense show is now on television.
Every Tuesday night in many parts of the country.
And now, Autolite presents Agnes Moorehead in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
This the attic?
Since it's at the top of the house directly beneath the roof, what else could it be? Yes, this is the attic.
Yeah, it seems kind of dead in here.
My father used it for a studio when he was alive. It's soundproof. Sometimes he slept here.
Anybody sleep here now, Miss Crane?
I told you I lived alone. Alone. A-L-O-N-E. I've lived alone ever since my sister... Must you ask such stupid questions?
Anything missing or changed in this
Well,
room?
if there were, I'd have mentioned it. You've asked the same question about every room from the basement up. One thing is certain.
Well, one thing is certain. It ain't burglary, Miss
Oh,
Crane.
brilliant. Brilliant. And I agree. Since nothing is missing, it ain't, as you say, burglary. Really, now, I never knew such
Take it
intelligence.
easy, Miss Crane. Just try to relax.
Don't tell me to relax, please. I'm awakened in the middle of the night by someone whistling in a house I believe to be empty, except for myself. And I call the police, and what's the upshot of it all? Two incompetents clumping about, urging me to relax.
You sure you heard whistling? You're sure?
Were you trying to tell me I was dreaming?
We ain't... we're not trying to tell you anything, but what we've got to try to discover is if there's a possible explanation. Now, right now, we find no sign of breaking and entering, no sign of burglary, no
I tell you, I heard it.
Anything like this ever happened before?
No. But this evening, when I was preparing dinner, there was a muffin missing from the bread box. I know I didn't eat it myself. And the clock in the hallway, when I was leaving for work yesterday, I noticed it had stopped, and I made a mental note to wind it when I returned, but when I came home, it was ticking away as if it had been... Why did you look at each other like that? Do you suspect me of harboring delusions? Do you think I'm a crank?
Oh, no, of course not. You don't think Miss Crane here is a crank, do you,
Oh, don't try to humor me. I tell you, all these things happen.
We're not trying to humor
Oh, you are. But they did happen. Someone ate my food, wound my clock, walked through the house whistling. It's as though someone were living here with me. When they had gone, I thought of the house, the honeycomb of rooms and connecting closets upstairs. No one could be found up there, not if they didn't want to be. It would be easy to stay hidden, to slip from room to closet to room. I hurried to my bedroom and bolted the door and clamped the windows down to the sills, and then I lay in bed and listened. And listened. And suddenly it was morning, and I'd overslept.
Oh, careful, Miss Crane. You almost knocked me right off the porch.
Sorry, I didn't see you. I'm late
Rush.
for work.
Everybody these days
I
seems to be in
overslept.
such...
Is there any mail for me?
Nope. I'd be out of a job if everybody got as few letters as you do.
I dare say you're right. I really
not
must...
Not so fast. Something I got to explain to you.
Hey, Eddie, got anything for me?
Yeah, quite a few. Be right with you, Mr. Holmes.
Snap it up, will you? I've got to catch
I'm
train.
very late.
This'll only take a second. Now, here, let me show you. Now, you filled out this part all right.
What?
But...
What is this?
The Form 22 you left in your box from me. Order to change address. You filled out this part all right.
Order to change address?
Yeah,
What are you talking
these lines are filled out okay. Name, old address, and new address. But is that Thomas Cook and Son, Paris, France, or Thomas Coke and Son, Paris, France?
Well, it says Thomas Cook and Son, but I never...
Just a second, Mr. Holmes. I'm showing Miss Crane how to fill out a change of address card.
Where's she going? Where are you going, Miss Crane?
I don't understand. I never filled out...
Where is she going?
Paris,
No, I didn't put this card in the mailbox. I don't know
Eddie,
anything
do I get
about
my
it.
mail today or do
Yeah, just... anyway... You forgot to write your signature down here at the bottom, Miss Crane, and unless you do that, your mail won't be forwarded. You understand?
No, I
so
don't
just please...
understand. I didn't fill out this card. Oh, there's my bus. Oh, here, give it to me. I have to run.
Well, if I don't see you again, Miss Crane, have a nice time.
On the bus, I examined the change of address card. The information it required had been typed. But not by me. I was sure of it. Not by me. By whom, then? I looked at the card again. The crossbar on the capital T was lopsided, and all the E's were out of line, slightly higher than the other letters. There couldn't be two typewriters with two such defects together. There could only be one. Suddenly I felt sick to my stomach. There was only one typewriter like that, and I knew where it was. On the desk in my living room. I worked like an automaton all day, going through the usual routine of a physician's secretary. But my mind was not in the office. It was at home, following the intruder in my house from room to room. Now in the kitchen, now in the library, now perhaps in my bedroom, smiling a bleak, faceless smile and planning to what? Something dangerous? Something dangerous.
Helen. Helen.
Huh? Oh, yes, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor. Now, relax, Helen. We're alone. It's time to close shop.
What?
Time to go home. What is it, Helen? Are you ill?
No, I well, it's just that I didn't get much sleep last night. I was awakened by someone whistling in my house.
What?
Yes, around 3 this morning. I phoned the police and they searched, but they weren't really looking. They didn't believe me. But I heard it. I heard it distinctly. I even recognized the tune.
Oh, relax, kid, relax. Now, come on now. You recognize the tune?
Yes, I recognize. Aloha. You know. Farewell to thee, farewell to thee, the time has come. Why do you smile?
Helen, if you came to me with this story as a patient, I'd prescribe a vacation. You want one so badly, you even dream you're about to go off on one. To Hawaii, no less. Complete with musical background.
Oh, how can you be so stupid? I'm sorry, Perry, but it's infuriating to be told it was a dream when I know that there are things happening in the house that frighten me. Last night there was a muffin missing from the bread box. And
You probably ate it.
Oh.
Now, everyone has had similar experiences. Now, many times I find a cigarette smoking in my hand. And I have no recollection of having lit it, you see.
Oh, and the clock? It was run down and then it was going again and I hadn't wound it?
It may not have been run down.
Oh, it's...
Now, a gear may have jammed for a few minutes or something like that.
And this morning, the mailman told me about it.
Now, Helen, now, please listen to me. It seems to me that you're in a bad state of mind. You're finding dark omens and bloody portents in normal, everyday occurrences. Now, you're being neurotic about these things. You're like Chicken Little running to tell the king the sky is falling. You go on like that, and pretty soon they'll come and wrap you in a cold, wet sheet.
You think I'm losing my mind? Huh? You do.
No, I was only kidding. Say, are you still living alone in that big old barn of a house?
Yes, and it's not a barn. It's a perfect...
Okay. You're alone too much, Helen. How long has it been now since...
2 years. Jessica's been away almost 2 years.
Well, it was all right for you when she was there. I mean, she was a lively kid. She filled the house with excitement and energy.
And necking parties and drinking and great hulking boys following her around. It was disgusting. A lively kid. She was wild and a cheat and a liar and everything
stop
else.
It, Helen. I've no desire to rake over old coals. I'm only offering you sound advice. It's not good for you to remain in that house all by yourself. Now, why not rent out part of it? The whole upstairs, say. Fill the place with people and...
No.
No?
No, I don't want people in my house. It's my house now, and I like it the way it is.
Okay. Can I give you a lift?
No, thank you.
Right. Helen, if you don't like the idea of renting part of your house, why not close it entirely for a while and take a vacation? I recommend that as a doctor, even though it'll be tough getting along without you. Now think about it, will you? Think about it.
On my way home, I thought of what Perry had said. It was possible I'd been morbid about the whistling and the rest of it. It could be. As I walked down the street toward the house, I looked at it. And its familiarity was reassuring. This was no place of fear and mystery. This was my home, and there was no intruder, and really never had been.
Miss Crane?
Oh. Who is it?
It's me, Miss Crane, Harry Penning's luggage shop. Did I scare you?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Where's your porch light? I'll put it on.
Oh, it's at the left of the door.
See, it's me. I don't blame you for being scared. A voice coming out of the shadows like that.
Well, what do you want, Mr. Penning?
I brought the 2 valises you ordered.
The 2 valises I ordered?
Uh-huh. It was on my way home anyway, and I figured, well, I'll just put them in the car.
I didn't order any valises.
Well, sure you did. This afternoon, don't you remember? You said you wanted a big one and a little one. Leather, high grade.
I ordered them? I did?
Yes, I took the order myself this afternoon.
But I didn't. I was nowhere near your shop.
Oh, well, you telephoned. You said you were going on a vacation soon and you wanted to have...
No, I didn't.
One of us is crazy, Miss Crane.
Crazy?
Well, when I say crazy, I don't mean crazy, of course. Excuse me. I mean, I know you ordered them and asked me to have them delivered.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. I remember now. 2 valises.
Yeah, that's it. I guess in the hustle and bustle of getting ready for a vacation, a thing like this could slip your mind.
Yes, it slipped my mind.
Yeah, well, now, you want to pay me now, or should I send you a bill?
Yes, send me a bill.
Yeah, well, have a nice time, Miss Crane. Believe me, I sure envy you. I sure do. I'd like to change places with you.
I carried the valises into the house and set them down in the hallway and stood there staring at them. Perry said I had dreamed of a vacation. Had I? And had I put a change of address card in the mailbox? And ordered these valises? Either I was losing my mind or I'd been right all along. Was there someone in my house? Someone who not only wanted to live there, but who also wanted me out? I was in an agony of confusion and indecision. And then What's that? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Information.
The telephone number of the Daily Times. Hurry,
the
please.
Editorial office or the business office?
The classified ads department.
That number is listed in your directory.
Yes.
The number is Avalon 1634. Daily Times classified. May I help you?
My name is Helen Crane. I want to put an ad in the for rent column. 5 bedrooms, share bathrooms, low rent, inspection after 6 p.m. The address is 1132 Gerolman. I want it to run every day until further notice.
All right. Shall we bill you at that address?
Yes. Will that be in tomorrow's Times?
Yes, it will.
Oh, thank you. There! Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Do you know what that means? It means this house will soon be filled with people. There'll be people living here, eating here, sleeping here, crowding you out. There'll be no room for you, do you hear me? I know you want me to leave, but I'm not going. You are! You are! You are! You are! You are!
Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Miss Agnes Moorehead in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Oh, I hear you're going to be a summer theater actor.
To be or not to be, full of pep, there's no question. Those Autolite resistor spark plugs maketh thine engine idle smoother. Make it better to perform, forsooth, upon leaner gas mixtures I wot.
Oh, Shakespeare, I hope you're an understanding man.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Each Autolite resistor spark plug hath built in a mighty might. A 10,000 ohm resistor that permitteth wider gap settings, actually increaseth the electrode life 200%, yea, and more. Ah, parting is such sweet sorrow, but not if thou partest with old narrow gap spark plugs, and install in thine engine those peerless paragons, wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. For they doth make thine engine idle smoother, and giveth better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually saveth thy gas, odds bodkins.
Oh, shades of Shakespeare.
Say, Hap, you know, I like this acting business. Brings out the ham in me.
It sure does, Harlow. Oh, here's Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to a Hollywood soundstage Agnes Moorehead as Helen in The Trap. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
night was deep and refreshing, and I woke next morning and went to the office feeling very pleased with myself. By noon, the Times would be on the stands with my ad. I might have tenants by tonight. After that, goodbye, unwanted guest. Good morning. Dr. Coleman's office.
Like to talk to Miss Crane.
Speaking.
This is the Hughes Lock and Key Company, Miss Crane, about that padlock you wore.
Just
it's ready
a
for
minute. What did you say it was I ordered?
Padlock, the one you ordered yesterday. This is Miss Crane, ain't it? Miss Helen Crane?
Yes.
Well, I think we located the kind you wanted. Believe me, it was a job doing it. In the first place, they
intruder
don't
wanted
make
the
them
padlock?
no more.
Why? How did the padlock enter the scheme to force me out of the house? For a moment, I was frightened. Then I realized it didn't matter. I'd already taken steps to ensure my remaining. My house would soon be filled with people.
Do you want me to bring it over to the house now or later?
Now, if you like.
Will there be somebody there to let me in?
Oh, yes, somebody's there.
Okay, Doc. Thanks, Miss Crane. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Padlock. Why a padlock? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter now. At noon, I left the office and went down to the lobby for a newspaper. The Daily Times, please.
Here you are. Thanks. Hello, Helen. You
Hello.
on your lunch hour?
Yes, Perry.
Anything requiring my immediate attention up there, or have I time for a bite?
Oh, you have time.
I'll join you if I may.
Just a moment, Perry. I'm trying to find something in the paper.
Where should we go? The coffee room here all right with
Yes,
you?
that'll be all
Or would you
right.
prefer to go up the street to the Italian place?
Perry? Perry, it's not there. It's not in the paper. They told me it would be, but it's not.
What is it?
Have you got a nickel? I want to make a
Why,
call.
sure, Helen.
I'll be right out.
Daily Times Classified. May I help you?
This is Helen Crane. Why isn't my ad in the paper?
Did you place an ad with us, ma'am?
Yes, I did, over the phone last night, but it's not in there today. Why didn't you run it?
Well, just a second, ma'am. I'll check it with our phone orders. Was it supposed to start today?
Yes, it was.
Well, I have it here now. I remember. I took it myself. Helen Crane,
Yes?
1132 North Geralman.
Yes?
Well, the ad did not appear, ma'am, because shortly after it was placed, it was canceled.
What?
Canceled. The notation on the slip says that shortly after it was placed, it was canceled. Also by telephone. Hello? Hello?
Thank you.
Are you all right, Helen? Helen, are you all right? What is it, Helen? What is it? Do you feel ill?
Oh, I'll go upstairs and lie down for a few minutes.
You won't do anything of the sort. I'm sending you home in a cab right now. Now, you get into bed as soon as you arrive and phone me if you have a temperature. I'll try to drop in and see you first thing in the morning. And, Helen,
Yes.
Oh, I wish you'd give some thought to taking that vacation.
There was no mystery about it, really. The intruder had overheard me placing the ad, that was all. Phoning in a cancellation was a simple matter. Oh, my head hurt. I tried to think what to do next, but my mind wouldn't work, and I was sick to my stomach. Finally, the cab pulled up in front of my house. My house.
Want me to help you to the door, miss?
No, I can make it. Thank you.
Miss Crane!
Oh, yes. What is it, Mrs. Hall?
Are you busy? May I speak to you for a minute?
What is it?
Well, I wanted to have a few words with you before you went on your vacation. My husband told me you were going to France. I certainly envy you, I do. And we had a talk, the mister and I.
What is it, Mrs. Holmes?
Well, we were wondering what you intended to do about the house. It's really none of our business, of course, but then again, we decided no harm to ask, is there? We'd like to know if you intend to put it up for sale, because if so, we'd like to consider buying it. The mister sometimes dabbles in real estate.
Sell it? Sell my house?
Well, that's what we'd like to know, whether you're going to or not. I spoke to Jessica about it this morning.
Jessica? You spoke to Jessica about it? Jessica?
Mm-hmm. She said she didn't know what your plans were beyond a long vacation, and that anything you wanted to do with the house was all right with her, because, well, after all, you're the older sister.
You spoke to Jessica about it?
You don't mind my speaking to her first, do you? It's only because you weren't here, and we wanted to know, and... Say, hasn't she blossomed out?
Who?
Jessica. Oh, her 2 years up there didn't do her a bit of harm, did they? She told me it was more like a college than a reform school. I guess she did learn a lot there. I asked her how she felt, about you for having committed her. And she said she'd always remember you for having given her a purpose in life.
Where is she? Jessica. Where is she?
I heard some hammering from upstairs in your house a few minutes ago, so I guess she must be up there. You won't forget to tell me, will you, about selling the house, I mean?
Hello?
Hello, Jessica?
Perry?
Oh, Helen, how do you feel now? You all right?
I'm...
Oh, listen, I've got that airline ticket for France for you. It's a good thing I know somebody with a company. I really had to throw my weight around. Everything is booked right through summer. Well, anyway, you've got your ticket. You sure move fast, don't you, once you've made up your mind? I almost fell out of my chair when Jessica phoned me and told me you were going. Say, it's great her being back, isn't it? Hello?
Yes?
I'm delighted you decided to take a rest. Ought to do you a world of good. But why so long? I mean, 2 years abroad for you means 2 years without the best secretary I ever had. What am I...
Jessica! Jessica? Where are you? Why don't you come out? There's no point hiding any longer. I know now that it's you. Jessica! Why did you stay here without letting me know? Why did you insist on trying to send me away? Jessica, answer me! Jessica! All right, Jessica, all right. We'll forget the past. We'll start over. You're welcome to stay here, Jessica, for as long as you like. I sent you away only for your own good. For your own good. Now, please try to understand and believe that. You were wild and bad, and I had to do something, but it's all right now, isn't it? We'll live here together, you and I, won't we? And I won't hurt you, and you won't hurt me either, will you, Jessica? Sister? Where are you? Come out, please. You're frightening me. You wouldn't harm me, Jessica. You wouldn't harm me. It was for your own good. Where are you? You upstairs? Are you upstairs? Don't leave. Don't leave, Jessica. Stay there. I'm coming. I want to explain things to you. I want to explain how they were and how they are now. Do you understand? I don't see you. Well, where are you? Jessica, please let me see you. Say something to me. Oh, Jessica! Well, all right. I did wrong to send you away. I was wrong. I was jealous of you all the time. You were Papa's favorite and everyone else's, too, and I was jealous. I admit it, you see. You always had all the boys you wanted, and I never had any, and it made me jealous. I'm honest with you, Jessica, and I'm letting you see what's in my heart. Won't you let me know what's in yours? Oh, answer me. Oh, answer me. I know why you stole money, Jessica, and it was my fault. It was mine. I wouldn't let you have any. I wouldn't let you get a job. It was my fault. I know. You took the money and you run away from me. I was wrong, Jessica. I admit it. I confess it. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Truly, I'm sorry. Oh, Jessica! Are you up there in the attic? Wait there, Jessica. Don't leave. I'm coming up. You'll forgive me, won't you? Say you'll forgive me. If you let me explain, I know you'll forgive me. I'll make it up to you. You'll stay here with me. We'll be together. Are you here? Are you here in the attic, Jessica? Are you in? Jessica! Oh, no, Jessica! No, you can't do this. No, you can't lock me up in here. It's like a prison. It's like a prison. 2 years. Oh, 2 years. 2 years. Jessica! Are you out of here? Jessica, let me out. You can't do this. You can't keep me locked up in here. Jessica, please. Oh, please. Please let me out. Jessica!
Hello, Perry?
Yes? Jessica?
Perry, Helen has just had what I think is a marvelous idea. She's busy finishing packing, or else she'd tell you herself. Anyway, it is a marvelous idea. That is, if it's all right with you.
What is it, Jessica?
Well, Helen suggests that since she'll be gone 2 years, why don't I take her place with you at the office?
Thank you, Agnes Moorehead, for your third splendid suspense performance this season.
Oh, Miss Moorehead.
Yes, Mr. Wilcox?
Since you've been our guest star on Suspense so often, by now you should be thoroughly familiar with my remarks about Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Well, I think I am. Let me see if I can do it like you do. Don't you say something like this? Autolite resistor spark plugs make your engine idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas. Is that right?
It is indeed, Miss Moorehead. Thank you. And let me add that Autolite resistor spark plugs are ignition engineered by Autolite, which makes more than 400 products for cars, trucks, airplanes, and boats in 28 plants from coast to coast. And Autolite also makes complete electrical systems for many makes of America's finest cars. Batteries, spark plugs, generators, starting motors, coils, distributors. All ignition engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. So, folks, don't accept electrical parts that are supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite, original factory parts, at your neighborhood service stations, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And now here again is Agnes Moorehead. Miss Moorehead, I might tell you that we're asking Radio Mirror magazine to utilize tonight's story as they've done with another suspense thriller in their current issue.
I think tonight's play would be wonderful for Radio Mirror. It was a real pleasure to work with the great cast of actors that Tony Leder chose for tonight. And I'll be listening next week when radio's outstanding theater of thrills bring you Ralph Edwards in Ghost Hunt. Another gripping study in
Suspense.
Agnes Moorehead may currently be seen in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer production, The Stratton Story. Tonight's suspense play was adapted by Walter Newman and Ralph Rose from the story by Virginia Myers, with music composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leder. In the coming weeks, Suspense will present such stars as Ralph Edwards and Joseph Cotton. Make it a point to listen each Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. And next Thursday, same time, hear Ralph Edwards in Ghost Hunt.
You can buy Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite electrical parts, Autolite stay-full batteries at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Suspense. Tonight, transcribed, Autolite brings you Miss Joan Crawford in The 10 Years, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leder. And now, Autolite presents Joan Crawford in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Everyone is so good to me. I like being here, but some of the others don't, I guess. Do you hear? They scream sometimes like that in the night. Maybe they scream because they remember things. But I remember things, too. Especially when people come out from town to see me, to bring me things. But there's nothing that I want. They can't bring back my sister. My beautiful sister Adele. They came today. And with them, they brought back memories of Adele. When we were children. The night that Mother died. the night we made the promise.
Don't cry anymore, Adele.
I'm afraid, Clara. We're alone.
We're not alone.
But if something happened to you...
Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm going to take care of you.
But that's what Mother said. And now she's left us, too.
But, Adele, Mother didn't know that she wouldn't have left us if she could have helped us.
Promise me you won't die, Clara. And that whatever I do, you'll do. And that you'll never leave me.
I promise.
And we'll be together always and forever.
Always and forever. I promise.
And for years I kept that promise. Adele and I were as close as anyone could be. We had few friends, but I didn't mind as long as she was happy. But sometimes I was frightened at the way she clung to me after we were grown. I was afraid of what would happen to her in case anything ever happened to me. And then something did happen. I met Douglas Foley. Adele liked him until she realized that I'd fallen in love with him. Then she hated him in a childish, vicious way. He tried to win her over, but it was no good. And then he asked me to marry him. And I said yes. That night, after he'd gone, Adele was waiting for me in my room. Adele?
Clara! Douglas told me.
Adele, you're so white. You're ill.
But you promised me.
But Adele, I'm not leaving you. You're going to live with us.
No, it won't be the same. You promised always and forever.
But we were children, Adele.
You promised we'd be together always and forever.
But, Adele, you see,
Clara, if you marry him, I'll never speak to you again.
But we were married, and we believed that Adele would forgive us in time. But she didn't. She refused to see us, and letters went unanswered. Then when we learned that my husband's new job was to take us to Europe, our first thought was of Adele. If she would only go with us. But when we drove to her house, she refused even to come to the door, and we were forced to sail without her. My son, Doug, was born in Europe, and I wrote Adele a long letter telling her about him. But the letter was returned unopened. When Doug was just 10, we returned to America. I went directly from the station to Adele's house. She was working in the garden when we drove up. I was shocked at her appearance. Her hair had turned almost white, and there was a strange look about her. I sent Doug to the gate, never looked my way. I believe it was about 2 months after the trial that my son and his friend Roy went on an all-day hiking trip to the beach. They were late getting back. It was almost dark when I saw Roy coming up the street. He was alone, and he was running.
Mrs. Foley! Mrs. Foley!
Roy, where's Doug?
He's down at the beach. With her.
With whom?
Your sister.
My sister? Oh, for heaven's sake, Roy, will you tell me what this is all about?
Well, you see, Mrs. Foley, Doug and I went down to the beach.
It seemed that Roy and Doug had forgotten to take along their drinking water, and they hadn't missed it until they'd come to a very deserted strip of the beach.
Maybe we can get some water at that little house over there. Funny place for a house, isn't it? Yeah. Come on. Looks like nobody lives here. All the better. We can just drink out that faucet in the yard. We won't have to ask nobody. Come on. Sure run down, ain't it? Maybe the faucet isn't working. The garden's all dead. Sure it's working, see? Someone's just plain lazy then. Or maybe no one lives here. Sure they do. There's a mailbox. Maybe there's a name on it. Look. Miss Adele Norris. That's Mom's sister. Yeah? Well, let's drop in and see her. She wouldn't even know who I was. You could tell her, couldn't you? Say, maybe she'd give us some cake or something. No. She's mad at me and Mom. Come on, let's get out of here. Hey, Doc. Look at all those dead leaves on the porch.
He introduced himself. She looked at him in a puzzled manner. Then she saw us sitting in the car, and she turned and walked into the house. The next thing I remember was that day 1 month after my return home when I was put on trial for murder. For my husband's murder.
Mrs. Foley, will you tell us again what happened the night of your husband's murder?
My husband was working in the garden all day. When it began to grow dark, I called him in. But he insisted that he had something to finish. I called him several times after that, and then I became irritated and I gave up. I had my dinner alone and I went up to my bedroom.
Then you do admit that you quarreled with him the night of the murder?
We didn't quarrel. I was irritated, but I said nothing to my husband.
I see. Your husband's death was caused by a deep, narrow wound in the vicinity of the heart. It is the opinion of this court that the instrument used might have been an ice pick. Mrs. Foley, have you any other ideas as to what might have inflicted this wound?
No.
Had your husband any enemies, Mrs. Foley?
No. And so I was acquitted that day because of insufficient evidence. I thought Adele would come to see me during those awful days, but she didn't. I saw her in the courtroom, but she